What's up? Welcome to the Will Shocker video for the day. I'm gonna try to record about 30 minutes of gameplay, just playing Albion here because I have some things I'd like to talk about, and I'm just gonna have my game in the background while I talk about stuff. So um, let's get into it. A minute ago, I was thinking about my my routine and my process and the things that I do every single day to slowly work my way towards a better life. And I feel like I may have some advice that might help a person or two. Um, and this all started a few years ago. I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I started to really notice that I wasn't happy at my job and I really needed to stick with some of the things that I wanted to do, like side projects and stuff. And I started solving one problem at a time, basically. The unhappiness at my work had a lot to do with lacking sleep. So, one of the first things I did was fix my sleeping schedule. And I know that if you're anything like I was, that sounds like a no brainer. But it's also easier said than done, right? There's a lot of things that you'd want to do throughout a late evening that can distract you from falling asleep at a reasonable hour. But what happened for me was I realized that no matter what activity I did late at night, it wouldn't be worth the amount of frustration and stress and pain I experienced the next day when I was going to work with no sleep. So basically, the fact that my job sucked so much that I couldn't do it on the lack of sleep forced me to reevaluate and say, hey, look, these activities video games and stuff are fun, but it's not worth it to play them late into the night where I run the risk of having a terrible day tomorrow. Um, so hopefully that resonates with somebody. And basically, my first piece of advice is to fix your sleeping schedule. You really want to be going to sleep at a good time every day, even though even though it doesn't feel great at first. What you'll notice is that you'll start preferring the days where you have plenty of sleep over the days where you're lacking sleep. And it's just such a great starting point for so many different lifestyle changes. It's good for your health. It's good for your if you're into building muscle, it's good for building muscle. If you're interested in weight loss, it's good for weight loss. If you're interested in just having a stress-free life, it's good for reducing and managing stress. It just all around. It's a super fix. So if somebody stumbles into this video and feels at a loss for what to do, that's the first thing I would say is get yourself a bedtime. Make sure you're cranking out 8 to 10 hours a day of sleep so that you are in your optimal state for the rest of your life. Like, if you get enough sleep for the rest of your life, you will have a good day overall for the rest of your life because even if you go through something stressful, you're still mentally strong enough to get through it, if that makes sense. So, uh, in a lot of ways, sleep helps you prepare for the bad days, and it helps you prepare for the worst days. I'm talking like major things that might happen in the future. Um, Being well rested can be a huge part of spiritually and emotionally handling those things. So hopefully that sounds practical. Hopefully it makes sense. So that's number one. Okay. Um, so after I fixed my sleeping schedule, the next thing I worked on was getting regular exercise, and there's a reason for that. I have struggled with my weight for a long time. I struggled with my weight for a really long time, and I started to notice, if I don't start committing to doing something every single day, day in and day out, then I might never lose the weight that I want to lose. And it just so happened that um, it made sense to me to start trying to work out more. And it also made sense to start small. Because if you're not naturally a person that enjoys working out and going to the gym and all that other stuff, it can feel like you're like approaching a big obstacle when it comes to taking care of your health. Because let's say you've spent 1,000 hours sitting down, it's gonna feel really different to spend 1 hour getting exercise, if that makes sense, because you're just so naturally inclined towards taking the easier road, right? So what I did to fix that was I started really small, like really small. I didn't even go to the gym. What I did was I went outside, I went for a 5-minute walk after dinner, and I just chose after dinner as being the right time because that's when I got off work, and I had a little bit of space in my schedule. So for me, it was after dinner. I would go for a really short 5-minute walk, and then I'd be done for that day. And then the next day, I would go for another 5-minute walk, and then the next day another 5-minute walk, and then eventually I started feeling like, hey, let's go for a 10-minute walk. Let's go for a 15-minute walk. And I stopped at 15 minutes for a really long time because more than 15 minutes just felt like too much for me. And basically going for a walk every single day at the exact same time every single day, and then going to sleep every single day at the exact same time every single day, it made such a big difference for me that I can't even imagine going back to a different lifestyle. Like, I can't even imagine missing one of my evening walks or missing my bedtime, basically. Like, I have done it for so long and so consistently that doing anything else feels really strange to me. And basically, I managed to reverse the feeling of strangeness. Like I mentioned, when I first got started walking, it felt really strange. But now, if I go to 6 p.m. in the evening when I usually walk and I'm not walking, that starts feeling strange. It feels strange to skip a day. And so basically, if you do something long enough, it'll start feeling strange to not do that thing. Does that make sense? And so I've managed to add these two really ridiculously good things to my schedule, to my routine, that I don't ever want to change it. I don't ever want my routine to be modified in any way. Not that I don't think that there are better things to do, because I'm sure there are better things to do. It's just that I've chosen these things over everything else. Okay? And so the point I'm trying to get at is you can build routines and you can plan for things to happen every single day. And you get to choose what those things are. And you get to choose when they happen. You get to choose how intense it is. You have full control. But after you do it for a while, or I should say, and after you do it for a while, it starts becoming automatic. And now I'm going to just throw a bone to my ADHD and autistic or neurodiverse people And I'll say this, it applies to people with autistic ADHD as well, um, because I have my own executive function disorders, and even even with that, even being under those conditions, I've still managed to create a routine. So if you're somebody that thinks, "Oh no, I could never commit to it, I couldn't stick to it," like if you think that way, I'm trying to say that it is possible. Like I literally I go for a walk every day. Literally I go to sleep at the same time every day. Um, the third thing I added to my routine was Duolingo, which I know not everybody loves Duolingo, but it felt so small to spend 1 or 2 minutes a day on it. And so I racked up a 275-day streak on Duolingo. And I feel like that's something to be proud of too. You know, I go on Duolingo every night before I go to bed around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is like, that's set in stone. That's static. That doesn't change. So no matter what, if I keep using Duolingo every single night, every single day at 8 p.m. every single day, and I make it such a rigid, strict routine, then, I might see results. If you give it 5 or 10 years, then I might know a whole other language, just because I have consistently done this thing over and over and over, day after day after day. And so, what I'm trying to convey is that people can build systems, and whatever your goal is, you have to build a system around that goal. If my goal is to lose weight, the system that I build is to walk every day. If my goal is to finish a book, my system has to involve something that gets me to sit down and write. If my goal is to know a language, then I'm going to build a system of learning, whether it's flashcards or Duolingo or reading or immersion or all the other language learning methods. It's going to be a part of my daily routine. And the fact that it's a routine means it does not change. And what you want to have, especially as an autistic ADHD person, is for things to be predictable and to take small wins. If you're taking small wins every day, one of the other things that happens is you get more. You improve the muscle of your self-discipline, so that you can add more things that you want to do on a daily basis as well. So for me, it started with sleeping on time, and then it turned into walking, and then it turned into language learning, and now I'm turning it into sitting down and writing my book. So the more I was able to stay consistent and repeat these actions over and over and over a longer and longer time, the better I'm getting at being more consistent at other things too. Because what's happening in my brain is I'm creating new neural pathways and strengthening the parts of my brain that revolve around self-control and self-discipline and self-regulation, and I'm gaining a muscle that I can use in many ways, if that makes sense. Like, I can build this muscle up and then apply it to many other areas of life instead of just one or two things. I hope that makes sense. So now I'm in a position where I can actually talk about my lived experience of being this, functionally disabled person, but still able to build a solid routine and I'm getting healthier, I'm losing weight, my job is less stressful. There's so many things I've been able to do for myself just because I had the idea of, hey, let me go to sleep on time so that my next day isn't terrible. It can be something as simple as that. Or it can be something like, hey, Duolingo's is great at getting you to log into their app every day. Why don't I take this 300-day streak that I have and start a streak of something else? You know? So, another tip that I have now that I've gone into the whole how do you build a routine? What are the effects? What are some examples of things you can build a system around? Another thing that I want to emphasize is the importance of tracking your progress, because, and there's a good reason why I recommend tracking your progress, is because it's fun. Like, it feels really cool. So what I want you to do is grab a sheet of paper or a notebook paper or something, and you don't literally have to, but what you want to do is you want to draw a little box, not too small, but a box on the sheet of paper. And then if you did a good thing for the day, like you went to sleep on time or something for that day, you give yourself a check mark in that box. And so what happens is you leave that page somewhere nearby where you're going to cross paths with it every day. And if you do the right thing that you want to do that helps you towards your goal, then you give yourself a checkbox. And then you make another box, and basically you draw a calendar where you have a checkbox on the days that you managed to do the thing, and you put an X on the days where you miss your activity. So that gives you a visualization of all of the days in a row that you have stuck with your goal, right? So for me, I started with a streak of walking, and I made sure I walked every day. And now I have a notebook that has like 30 freaking check marks on it because I've done the same exercise 30 days in a row. So I get to look at that and I get to see the progress that I've made. And it's fun. That's cool. It feels good. I like it. I'm not going to stop doing that because I get to, not only keep myself accountable, but I get to look forward to giving myself a checkbox at the end of the day when I know I've done everything that I wanted to do. So, keeping track of your streak, the reason I keep calling it a streak is because you want to, do it every day, make it consistent, keep it at a routine, and give yourself a visualization of, all of your effort. So when somebody comes by and you can show them your calendar of days where you have committed to, doing this stuff for yourself, it can be something you're proud of, So that's been my life for the past few years. I've really tried to make social media work, but social media is another thing that you have to do really consistently, and you have to put in a little bit every single day. And the only things I've been able to do every single day so far has been walking and going to sleep. I have managed to do those two things consistently. I have managed to walk and go to sleep. But that's better than nothing, right? So here I want to, just re-emphasize the fact that, having this routine is really, really helpful. And I'm really proud of myself that I've been able to make it this far into my self-improvement journey, because even though I have a whole lot more work to do, I know that if I keep this consistent for another 10 years, in 10 years I'll be 44 or 45 or something, and I'll have probably like I'll have probably worked on myself for like 3,000 something days straight. Yeah, 3,650 days straight. And I'll probably have a much better physical appearance. I'll probably have a really healthy brain from all the sleep. I'll probably know a language that I'm studying. I'll probably have a book or two written. And that alone gives me so much to look forward to, and it makes me feel so good about life. It makes me feel like I have a purpose, like I'm doing something that matters, like all the time. And if I can consistently make social media videos every single day, day in and day out for 3,650 days for 10 years, who knows where I'll be or what I'll be doing, I'll probably meet so many people along the way that my life will be completely different if I just stay consistent. If I just stay focused on building the system that I want to build. And the reason I keep calling it a system is because you can, like, it's so customizable, and it's I don't know why I keep calling it a system, but I just I don't like the terms discipline, and I don't like the terms consistent, and I don't like project, or I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So what else can I say? I think I've gone through everything. I've gone through sleeping on time, walking. Oh, diet. I keep track of my diet too. I don't know if people need dietary advice. They probably do, especially if you're in America. It's really easy to get off track in America. So I'll talk a little bit about diet in a second here. What you really want to avoid, there's two things that you want to avoid more than anything, and the first one is definitely sugar. You don't want to eat any sugar. Like, even 1 gram of sugar is probably too much. There's just no health benefit to sugar at all whatsoever, and it's just really, really bad for you. So anywhere you can cut out sugar from your life, just look at the nutrition facts and take a look at how much stuff has sugar in it. Like, milk has sugar in it, bread has sugar in it, lots of beverages have sugar in it, low-fat yogurts have sugar in it. There's so many things that are like low fat, low calorie, whatever, and then there's just a bunch of sugar. And unfortunately, those things with sugar in them are really detrimental, and they're high in calories, and they make you bloat, and it's just not good. So number one is avoid sugar as much as you possibly can. Even if you have like a super sweet tooth, just try to train yourself out of it, because I love sweet foods. I love cookies, candies, cakes, donuts, pastries, croissants. I love fucking anything, man. I love anything sweet. But I understand how bad it is to eat sugar, because not only is it really tasty and really tempting, it's also really addictive, and it's like a drug. It's about as addictive as a drug. So if you try to cut out sugar cold turkey, you're probably going to go through like some quasi sugar withdrawal symptoms. Like, it's actually that bad. I think eating sugar is like worse than smoking for your body. But I don't have any science to back that up. That's just my opinion. Anyway, so that's number one, no sugar. And the second one is no carbs. Carbohydrates are not nearly as bad as sugar for your body, but It's really difficult to lose weight if you're high on carbs. If you have a lot of carbohydrates in your system, a lot of that energy gets converted into glucose, and the glucose is what gets stored as fat. So yeah, if you're interested in weight loss or anything like that, fruits and vegetables are much better than any kind of breads or pastas or other carbohydrates that could be in your diet. So those are the two things: carbs and sugar. I don't want to like ramble forever. This video has to have an ending point somehow, but I kind of figured maybe 30 minutes of talking a day could be good, but I might burn myself out if I push myself to do this too much. And that's the other thing. You got to listen to your body. You got to take breaks when you can. I do have a treadmill now that we made this investment since I knew I was going to be walking every day. That now we have a treadmill, so that's been really nice. I can go out for walks. Instead of going outside into the cold, I can stay indoors. So that's that. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I want to build more things into my routine, and I want to be able to do more of the same things every single day, so that 10 years from now I'll be a totally different person. Um, I'm sure I'll meet a lot of people if I stay active on social media. Um, I'm sure I'll even be able to help people if I stay active on social media. Like, there's so many good ways that posting on social media can help. It can help people that need a distraction of some sort, or a person that needs support or something like that. And I'm always happy to give people likes and stuff. So if you like this video, you can feel free to hit like and subscribe and support me, so that I can then move on to support other people and keep doing what I'm doing now, which is just playing Albion and Gathering, because I'm going to be honest, I enjoy the Gathering in this game more than I enjoy the PvP. And I'm sorry to say that, because it's probably not as much fun to watch a person gather, but this is what I enjoy. I'm gonna wrap things up here. I appreciate you if you've made it this far. I know it was kind of a ramble video, but that's kind of what I wanted to do in the first place. I just kind of wanted to ramble and say, hey, these are my thoughts. This is how I'm going about life, and these are the adjustments that I would recommend other people make. Because, like, if I saw my advice 5 years ago, like, I could have started sooner and have made so much more progress than what I have now. But of course, it's never too late to make changes, and that's the really cool thing about life. And trust me, I wasn't always excited about living. I always thought it was kind of a hassle, and I didn't really get it, and I didn't always understand that there are lots of ways to make life better, especially when life gets really hard. So hopefully I can just leave that as a note. Routines are really effective tools. It's a really effective tool to build a routine, especially if you have a disability, especially if you deal with mental health problems, especially if you have goals that you want to reach. The key factor here isn't motivation. To an extent, it is discipline, but to a greater extent, it's just the routine that you build, and the identity that you get to give yourself, and the pride you get to feel when you've stuck to your routine and don't let it change. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.